I'm a life coach, and when I'm coaching, I'm definitely connected to Source. Feels wonderful. Feels like everything is possible. So my question is, why are we so attached to our limiting beliefs?
Because you've practiced them longer. We were talking with someone in the hot seat in Amsterdam recently, and she was wanting to describe how her life was becoming. And she was using words like, it's wonderful and it's lovely. And as she went on for quite a while with these very not descriptive terms, we said, these are awfully vague words that you're offering here. Can you be more specific? Can you help us feel you feeling these things more? And, she couldn't. As we took plenty of time and we, as you, sort of coached her toward it, but she couldn't quite hook into it. And the crowd was getting a little restless because there were a lot of people ready to talk, and she was sort of tongue-tied. She couldn't quite get it out. And then we said to her, well, what is it that you're seeking improvement from? It was a relationship thing that she was looking for. And when we asked her that question, she began telling us what was wrong with what was going on. And boy, did she get specific and fast. In other words, the words just rolled off her tongue. And so we just stood back and enjoyed it for a little while, because it was like it wasn't even the same person. The first person couldn't talk at all, and the second person, she was talking really, really fast with lots of description. And we said, you've practiced all of that. You've practiced that. So the law of attraction is queuing those thoughts up to you really easily. It isn't that she had them stored in a memory bank, a storage cabinet, and she'd opened that drawer and it all came out. It was that she activated that thought, and that thought connected with the other thoughts, but she'd practiced those thoughts. So that's what momentum is. In fact, as we have this physics lesson, or this chemistry lesson, this creation lesson, this vibrational conversation or lesson, what is it? How does this world work? How does vibration work? It isn't that you can store yourself to a frequency and just put it on a shelf and then do a lot of other things and then turn back to it and there it is, because your vibration is where you last left it. And so the word momentum is important. Focus and momentum. So let's say something happened to you or someone when they were kids, and their mother was freaked out about it, their father was freaked out about it, everyone had their hair on fire about it, and the story of that tragedy was told and told and told. Esther has friends in Colorado, and she gets together sometimes with their whole family, and they always tell the story of the tragedy. The tragedy that happened really a long time ago, like 30 or 40 years ago. The tragedy is a folklore in their family. The tragedy. Well, they keep the vibration of the tragedy active. They talk about it among them. They get together deliberately to talk about the tragedy. They even say the word tragedy in a special way because they've come to talk about the tragedy. And when they talk about the tragedy, everyone feels tragic as they talk about the tragedy. Jerry and Esther were in absolute amazement of this practiced ritual of keeping something active, that they didn't like it when it happened, they don't like it anytime they tell it, and yet it feels like they have some responsibility to keep the tragedy alive in their life experience. We've been teasing you, if when you were a kid a train ran over your toe, you would have a different relationship with trains than most kids would. So it's about what you've practiced. Most people don't think about practicing things because they're a vibrational match to their inner being. They practice them because the law of attraction is doing the bringing of it forth. That's not deliberate creation. That's creation by default. That's just letting whatever's active, you focus upon something, it's active, and the law of attraction will demonstrate to you just how active it is. Everybody you know, you and everybody you know, is living the sum total or the balanced or the average or whatever's going on in your vibration, from what you really want to what you really don't want. What you're living is always a perfect match to whatever you've got going on. So if you want a little improvement, you got to lean a little more toward what you want and a little less toward what you don't want. A little less tragedies conversation, a little more talking about what you're wanting. The way we help that is we talk about easy existing matches. Not waiting for something to happen off in the future, but something that is already happening, that I already like, that is easy for me to see, easy for me to describe. And that's what we were trying to do with this woman in Amsterdam. We were trying to get her to activate something in her now reality that felt good. It was slow going. Really easy to get her to activate something not wanted. And you know what was freakishly weird about that? What was active in her vocabulary was about what used to be with that old mate. It wasn't even currently happening, but it was so active in her vibration that that vibration of that tragedy was keeping her from the lover that she wanted, even though the tragedy was over and long gone. But she kept talking about it. She kept talking about it. You do too. And why is that? Why do you keep talking about the tragedy? Well, the reason is because when you're standing where you really don't want to be, you feel like you need to explain why you're there. And the law of attraction helps you find those words and those memories. When you're unhappy with what is, law of attraction will say, yeah, and here's why, and here's why, and here's why, and here's why, and here's why. And you go, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. And don't you notice other people will gather around you? You can even have family reunions to talk about the tragedy. Nobody else wants to hear it, but these guys will, because they've practiced it with me. And they know all the details, and they would fill in. If somebody would forget a little bit, another part would come in. Oh yeah, I forgot about that part, I forgot about that part. So they build it back to its horrible bigness before anyone leaves. And next year they will come back and revisit it again. What was your question? Your question was,
Why do we do that?
why do we have the beliefs that we hold? Because you practice them. You practice them. And the law of attraction is true to you at all times. If you're thinking something, law of attraction says, here's more like that, here's more like that, here's more like that, here's more like that. And humans keep wanting, most humans aren't talking about law of attraction, really. Most aren't. But those who are, sort of kind of want law of attraction to be like God, who isn't like they think it is either. They want law of attraction and God, somebody to hold what they want so dominantly that they can't miss it. Did you hear that? You know who does that for you? Your inner being. But your inner being cannot assert that into your experience. Your inner being does not do your thinking. You came here to freely think. Your inner being just thinks on your behalf from your inner being's point of view. Your job is to match up with that. There are a lot of things that you believe that are very beneficial. And there are things that you believe that will lead you to even more beneficial things. That's what evolution is all about. But it's just about practice.